We are going to compare the motion of a block that is sliding down a ramp with no friction to an object that is rolling down a ramp. And we're going to be looking at force, and we're going to be looking at energy in terms of how to describe. The one thing we want to do is we are going to say that the block and the ball have the same mass. All right, so that's going to allow us to compare them a little bit better. So looking at the first diagram here, okay, we have this block. What we want to do is draw a free body diagram. Okay, so what is the free body diagram going to look like for this block? What forces do we have working on it? So we have our normal force, and we have our weight force. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a dot here because I can go ahead and do both of them from the center of mass. I could put my normal force down here where it's in contact with the ground as well, but this is fine where I have it. All right, so let's talk about some of the forces let's go ahead and determine the directions. This is going to be y, and this is x. So if I do the net force in the y direction, what is the net force in the y direction equal to? It's equal to 0. And what other equation can we write because of that then? And then we're going to have the normal force equal to mg cosine theta. Okay, where this is our theta right here. We'll just assign that theta. So it's going to be mg cosine theta. We know that equals the normal force. So now if I take a look at the normal force or the net force in the x direction, what is that equal to then? Mg sine theta. So mg sine theta is the x component pulling this down, not sing. Mg sing. Mg sine theta. And this guy is pulling the block down. Now, we don't have an opposing force because, yep, it says it has no friction. So if we did, what would we have to do here? Yeah, we would subtract the friction. Now, because this is the net force, right, and it has a non-zero value, then what do we know that this is equal to? Mass times acceleration. Okay. Now let's go over to the ball diagram, and we're going to go ahead and draw the forces on the ball diagram. We're going to have to draw them a little bit differently, and as we get into it, we'll talk about why. But what are the forces already that we know are on here? So we have the gravitational force down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the normal force on the surface where it's touching the ramp, and I'm going to push this going straight up. So this is our normal force. And then if I was going to do the friction force, where should I put that from? The center of mass or on the surface? Yes, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the surface. Okay. Now I technically could have done them all from here, but I'm just doing this from the center of mass to get a linear motion in mind here. So, all right, so we have our free body diagram of both we have all the forces working on this. This is friction, okay? Now let's go ahead and look at the net force in the y direction. So again, net force in the y direction for this one is also going to be, it's also going to be 0. So we would get the same thing. We would get the normal equals mg cosine theta. That's not going to change. But what about the net force in the x direction? Mg sine theta minus friction, and that equals, because it's net force, and it's not equal to 0, mass times acceleration. Okay, so the forces are talking about really about this motion where the ball is going to be coming down the ramp, where the block is going to be coming down the ramp. Okay, so let's look at our energy equations. Okay, so we don't have any outside forces working on the block Earth system or the ball Earth system. Okay, all we have is our weight force, our normal, and in this case, our friction force. All right, so we want to talk about energy, and because we don't have any outside forces working on the system, what do I know about the energy before versus the energy after the object has moved? Yes, it's going to be conserved. It's going to be equal. Okay, so I have my initial energy has to equal my final energy. Now, how many energies, mechanical energies, do we have to pick from?
3.
We have 3. Do you guys remember what they are? Spring, potential, elastic potential, or that's your elastic potential, your gravitational potentials from height, and your kinetic from motion. Okay, so we have our 3 speeds. Now, at the top, all right, we're starting at rest, and this is going to slide down. So what is the energy that we have at the top here? So we have gravitational potential energy, and then at the bottom of the ramp, we are going to have kinetic energy. Okay, so it's mgh equals 1/2 mv squared, and I do know I do have it here. All right, so then we could solve for the final speed, and that would be great, or depending on what we have, maybe we want to know the height, but we have an equation that we can set up to solve for particular things. So let's go over to this one, though. Okay, for this one, it should be somewhat similar. So we're going to have potential energy at the start, so gravitational potential energy at the start, and then we have kinetic energy. Okay, so we have kinetic energy at the bottom. Is that coming in there? All right. So kinetic energy at the bottom. But we need to consider something. All right, so I have this roll of tape, right? And what's happening is it can be sliding down this hill. Everybody see that? And this would just be a slide motion. And what happens is if I look at the center of mass, right, this is a linear motion. So this has kinetic energy using a linear motion. Now, the problem is I also have friction. And what is this friction doing to this ball? It's also making it rotate. It has a spinning motion. So not only am I moving down, but I'm also spinning as I move down. Okay? Well, from the page before, we know we have a new kinetic energy. We have a kinetic energy for spinning motion, but we also have a kinetic energy for linear motion, or translational motion, it can be called as well. So what that means is this K right here, it's actually the sum of both, because I have both motions occurring as this comes down. So I have a linear kinetic energy plus a rotational kinetic energy. Okay, now a lot of times you'll see me, I won't even like label the linear one, and I'll just label the rotational one. Sometimes you might see me label this like K, and I'll put TRAN for translational. All right, linear and translational, those are the same thing. So the thing is then, is that I have MGH, that's what I start with, equals 1/2 mv squared plus 1/2 I omega squared. So that's this guy right here. So it is written, but I'm just showing it in green as well for visual purposes. So here's the thing. We have two teams. They are racing. You have 2 teams, and you have the team block, and they have the block at the top. You have the team ball, and we want to be on the team that wins, the team where the object is going to get to the bottom of the ramp the fastest. What team do you guys want to be on? Team block. Yep. All right. So here's what you guys need to know. So it's like, all right, team block. And some of you guys are like, I'm not sure. We need to use physics to explain why. Now, I've set up the equations. We have a force description of why we would prefer to be on the block team. We also have an energy description of why we'd be on the block team. And you guys have to be able to use physics to describe why you think the block is going to be at the bottom of the ramp the fastest. And you don't want to mix the two, right? You don't want to start by talking about forces and then in the same sentence switch to energy. Only use forces, only use energy. So let's look at the purples, okay? So why, if we're looking at these 2 force equations, how do we know that the block is going to reach the bottom of the ramp before the circle, before the ball? Because there's no friction, then what? How would we continue? How do you know the acceleration is greater?
Because the masses are the same.
The masses are the same, okay? And here we wouldn't subtract friction, so the net force is greater, and since the mass is the same for both, the acceleration is greater for the block than it will be for the ball. Okay, so that's how we talk about the forces. So you need to talk about those things. So first thing, the friction. You want to address like, hey, this also has friction, therefore the net force is less, and this is a direct relationship. Since the net force is less, the acceleration will be less. The ball will not go as fast as the block. So that is how you describe, using physics, that's how you would describe why the block is going to reach the end faster. So now let's talk about using energy with the physics description. So let's take a look at our energy equations. How would we use this to describe why the block is going to go faster at the bottom than the ball? Excellent. That's it, right? Our initial energy is all potential energy. Because there's no outside forces, we know energy is conserved. Notice I'm talking about that conservation of energy. We don't have any external forces working on the system. So the energy is conserved. Because the energy is conserved, when we go to that final energy, the final energy for the block turns into all linear kinetic energy. But the final energy for the circle, or for our ball, it's split between rotational kinetic energy and linear kinetic energy, so the final speed is not going to be as fast as the final speed for the block. So two ways to describe why this is faster. So notice we're not using numbers, we're not doing any of that. We don't even have to set up like proportional relationships and stuff like that. You have to be able to use your words, but notice if we were to have to describe this, it does help to have the equations, because when you see the equations, you can make sense of them a little bit better. Does that make sense? So you guys are going to want to make sure you know how to draw the free body diagrams. We want to know what forces are working in these situations. What is the torque causing force here? What is it? Friction. So friction causes the torque here. Now that's important, because if we were trying to figure out like why does this ball have angular acceleration, you do need to know that friction is the reason why, because we have two other forces. But if we're trying to calculate torque, we're not going to be using the weight force, and we're not going to be using the normal force to calculate it. We're only going to be using the force of friction. So notice where I put that force. I put it at the bottom of the ball perpendicular to the radius, because if I needed to go back and calculate the torque, this diagram is more helpful than if I have everything from the center of mass. Okay.